Hey there, it's Jermaine from livewellzone.com, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing 5 herbs that can help you if you are struggling with heavy menstrual cycles. So the first herb we're going to talk about is shepherd's purse. Now, shepherd's purse is an herb that has traditionally been used in cases of any type of excessive bleeding, and in fact even midwives have been known to use this herb in cases where there is postpartum bleeding. Okay, now one of the reasons why this herb can be helpful is because it is an astringent. So as an astringent, it contains compounds known as tannins, and these are bitter compounds that can be very effective when it comes to curbing or reducing blood loss, right? In addition, shepherd's purse has traditionally been known to help with excessive bleeding from the uterus as well as from the cervix. Okay, so it does have that traditional use. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind with this herb is that it is usually used in combination with other herbs, and it can also take several weeks or even several months for you to really feel the effects. Okay, so that is the first herb, shepherd's purse. Now, moving on to the second herb, we're going to talk about yarrow. Now, yarrow is an herb that has been used at least since the Middle Ages for different types of menstrual irregularities, including heavy bleeding. Okay, now one of the reasons why this herb seems to be beneficial is because it acts as a uterine tonic. So basically what it can do is that it can help to regulate the blood flow to the uterus. So whether there is too much or too little blood flowing to the uterus, yarrow seems to be able to play a role in balancing that out. Okay, in addition, yarrow also has an astringent effect, so it's going to be similar from that perspective to shepherd's purse, and it can also help to reduce inflammation. Okay, so inflammation does play a role, an underlying role in heavy menstrual cycles. So anything that you can do to bring down inflammation can be beneficial in regulating the amount of blood that you lose every month. The third herb on the list is stinging nettle leaf. Now, I have done a few videos about this herb, so I'll just link to them and I'll just give you a quick overview here. And some of the main things to be aware of as far as the benefits of this herb for your cycle is that it does have anti-inflammatory properties, which can be quite helpful. It can also help with balancing blood sugar levels, and blood sugar can affect how well the menstrual cycle goes. It is a source of vitamin K. Vitamin K is essential for blood clotting, so there's more benefits there. It also contains a variety of vitamins and minerals that are just helpful for nourishing the body overall and for supporting the menstrual cycle. One of the key minerals that are found in stinging nettle is iron. So again, if you've been having heavy cycles, you've been losing a lot of blood, you're most likely having low iron levels, so this can be beneficial. But one thing to keep in mind is that there is some question as to how much iron you're getting depending on the form of nettle you use. So in particular, if you're taking it as a tea, the iron most likely is not going to survive the heat of the hot water that is used to make tea. So I'm going to talk later in this video about how to basically, some other options for how to overcome that. Number 4 on the list is black cohosh and blue cohosh. Now, you've probably heard about black cohosh when it comes to herbs for menopause. Blue cohosh is less talked about, but actually both of these herbs have a long history of use, traditional use for supporting the female cycle. Okay, now there's not necessarily a ton of information or research, especially around blue cohosh. However, I did come across one piece of information that states that blue cohosh acts as a uterine tonic. So here we're talking again, similar to yarrow, having the ability to regulate the amount of blood flow to the uterus. Black cohosh also has a similar effect, okay, in terms of toning the uterus. So that is most likely why both of these herbs have historically been used for the female cycle. However, you might want to actually talk to an herbalist when it comes to using these, because blue cohosh in particular seems to have always been used in combination with other astringent herbs. So it seems like you get better results if you were to combine it with other herbs. So this is a situation where an herbalist or a naturopathic doctor could be helpful for you. And number 5 on the list is red raspberry leaf. Now, this is an herb that is frequently used to support different aspects of the menstrual cycle. The 2 main benefits here is that red raspberry leaf has astringent properties and also acts as a tonic for the uterus. And you can actually combine red raspberry leaf with nettle. That will make a very nourishing and mineral rich drink. Now let's talk about how to use these herbs. So the two main things I'm going to talk about is a tea and tincture. So to make a tea, you basically can use tea bags or loose leaf tea. You do 1 tea bag to 1 cup of hot water, or 1 teaspoon of dried loose leaf herb to 1 cup of water. Now, like I mentioned earlier, some nutrients don't necessarily survive the high temperature of boiling water. So things like vitamin C, for example, and also iron, looks like those don't ever really make it through the tea process. So another option would be to make a cold infusion. So a cold infusion is basically using room temperature water to steep the herbs in. So you use that instead of hot water. And you can do a cold infusion basically at least like overnight, because since you don't have that high temperature, it will take a while for those nutrients to be extracted. Okay, now I will do a separate video talking more about the differences between hot and cold infusions, so that you know exactly when it would benefit you to use those two methods. Okay, but that is another option. And now, as far as going back to the hot water method, you can make an overnight infusion. So this will work very well for both nettle leaf as well as for red raspberry leaf. Those two are rich in minerals. They are two of many other herbs that herbalists would traditionally use to make an overnight infusion. So to make an overnight infusion, you will use 1 ounce of herb, put that in a quart-sized jar, fill the jar with hot water, and seal the jar. Let it sit on a counter for at least 4 hours, or preferably overnight. Okay, and what you will get is a very strong and very mineral rich drink that will just help to nourish your body. All right, so you can do it, like I said, just separately, either just with nettle or just with red raspberry, or you could also combine both herbs in one infusion. But again, the total amount of herbs would be 1 ounce, and we're talking 1 ounce by weight. Okay, so that's the first option, is a tea. Second option is to buy a tincture. This is going to be way more convenient. Tinctures are basically alcohol-based extracts of herbs. Tinctures, the advantage here is that you will usually be getting some of those nutrients that are destroyed by the high temperature of a tea. You'll most likely be able to find more of them in a tincture. Okay, so that's really the benefit. And of course, like I said, they're just super convenient, because you only need a few drops of tincture for each time that you take it. Okay, and all you have to do is just follow the manufacturer's instructions as far as how frequently and how much of the tincture to take. Now, if you're interested in trying out some of these herbs for yourself, I've included links below the video to some recommended brands. Okay, and in addition, there are other herbs that you can use to support your cycle if you are struggling with a heavy flow. I actually have a full article with a list of 10 herbs, so basically 5 more herbs aside from the ones that I've talked about in this video, and you can find that article on my website, so I highly recommend that you check that out. And if you're just not a fan of herbs and you don't want to bother with teas or tincture, I do have an alternate suggestion for you, and that is to try blackstrap molasses. So I have a whole video where I talk about the benefits of blackstrap molasses for cramps and for heavy flow. Okay, so I will link to that in the cards as well as in the description below. All right, so that does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up, and of course, feel free to share this with anybody else that would benefit from this information. If you have any feedback on this, if you yourself have tried these herbs or some other herbs, I'd love to hear your experience with those herbs, so feel free to share your feedback in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.